From HereToWakeUp.com, and I help people stay accountable and connected to Divine Spirit on their awakening journey. I've been spiritually awakened for 15 years now, self-realized for 10, and I am here to help and to be of service to kind-hearted souls that are ready to progress. So if that's you, welcome to my channel, The Healthy Wealthy Recluse. Welcome back to my channel if you've been here before. Make yourself at home. On this channel, I make videos about spiritual wealth, healing, and relationships. So if you find that you like it here, let me know in the comments and consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. Even dislikes help the channel. So thank you so much for watching all of this video. So in this video, I'll be sharing with you the third and final part of my spiritual journey to success to hopefully help you feel less alone if you're on a spiritual journey yourself, and also so you can get to know a bit more about me and how I attained self-realization and enlightenment. So while I was doing all of this seeking and researching, I still had to live my life and deal with 3D stuff like everybody else. So throughout everything, I was still going to school, working multiple jobs, dealing with family, dealing with friends, dealing with relationships. So now I'm at the point where I had already gotten my university degree, but didn't really love what I had studied. I didn't mind it. It was just an insane amount of work for something that I didn't really actually want to do. So I decided to take a completely different path and follow my dreams and my passion to do music full-time as a singer-songwriter. And maybe I'll do some storytime videos about my crazy adventures in the music business. But for now, I just want to stay focused on the subject of this video, which is my spiritual journey. So let me fast forward to the part of my journey where I started to feel disillusioned once again, just like I talked about in part 1. But this time, instead of being disillusioned with Christianity and what I was learning about the Bible and everything, now I was disillusioned with the music business and also just the entire world setup for that matter. So what started happening first was I started to feel like I was going through the motions. This was before I started producing my own music. I would be in studio sessions, writing and recording, but I was like no longer inspired. I wasn't having fun. And the whole thing was just feeling very mechanical, which was really scary to me. And then I started to just kind of, just take stock of what was going on around me without going into, too many details. I saw the big picture of what it was I was going to have to do if I wanted to have a livable, sustainable income in this business. And basically I was just like, I don't want it that bad. And that was that. And so was just guided to walk away. I had several different business situations that I was a part of musically, and I basically just walked away from all of them. I also walked away from some relationships, all within a relatively close time span. And I was basically just guided to do that, to preserve my well-being and my peace. Really, what was happening was I was being saved and pulled out from situations and relationships that, to put it in the most politically correct way, were just not a good fit for me, ultimately. So I walked away from a lot of things that I had dreamed that I wanted, and I really did feel better once I was out of certain environments and away from certain people. I felt better, I did. But even though I felt better, I still felt unhappy because I was discouraged. I was disillusioned once again, just like before. I was like, okay, well, now what? What am I supposed to do now? To me, I was at a dead end because in my mind, I had done everything that I was supposed to do, and I had done everything by the book. Societal programming tells you university is the way to go. You got to get that higher education. and all of the things. So I did that, and I found out it wasn't for me. Like I said, it just wasn't really what I wanted to do, and it was too much work for something I didn't want to do. And I knew that if I kept going in that direction, it was just going to get worse. It was just going to be more work. And I would just be trapping myself. The next bit of societal programming that you hear is follow your dreams, follow your heart. So I did that and discovered it was more of a nightmare, and there is no amount of vetting or research that prepares you for the things you may encounter when you're actually in the middle of pursuing your dreams and your goals and your career. There is some information that is secret and private that no amount of vetting or research will help you with. So here I was, confused about what I was going to do next and what was going on and all of that stuff. So I did what I usually did. I went straight to the source, started saying my prayers, because truth be told, I had been slacking. And then I woke up on Independence Day. I kid you not. I remember it because I have a photographic memory, and also I remember how I felt and what was going on, and plus I wrote about it in my journal. And when I woke up, it was like I had been activated. I'm not sure how else to describe that. I felt super energized, like I had a powerful stream of energy flowing through me, like I had all the energy in the world to do anything. It wasn't a giddy, high-strung, hyper type of energy. It was like I was really awake and alert and just ready to go, like, feeling super refreshed, not even an ounce of tiredness. And this energy kept me up. At the beginning, I was unable to sleep all the way through the night for days. And then, of course, the energy was, keeping me up spiritually from that, confused, low state that I had been in before. So it was really deep. It was a really deep experience. I felt like I was being unplugged. I felt so much love towards myself and literally everyone. I knew we were all connected. And at the same time, I also knew that the whole thing wasn't even really real. Things started dawning on me in a much different way than before. I was becoming very, very clear. My senses were heightened. When I would go out in nature, the colors were just brighter and more vivid. My hearing was super sharp. And I remember I was listening to the birds, and they literally started sounding like computer-generated birds. I almost hesitate to say that and put it on the internet, but that's what happened. It literally sounded like digital audio, and it was the weirdest but the coolest thing. It was like, wow, okay, just further confirmation that, this is kind of like a video game type situation experience from a certain point of view. So it was a really amazing time, but the most powerful part of that time for me that I remember was the communication aspect of everything, because I literally felt like I was being communicated with by something greater and more powerful than 3D me, but was also me. There was this really strong, authoritative, but loving and kind communication that was happening, that is still happening to this day, down to this second, as I'm recording this. And I would be receiving, instructions or prompts to go over here, look over there, go here, take this street, call this person. And I remember I was walking down this street one day in, this newly awakened state, and I was prompted to look up. I got the feeling like, look up. And there was this billboard, and it said, "Thank you so much for coming. We're so glad you're here." Now, I don't know what that billboard was for. Yes, I have a photographic memory, but I was only focusing on the words. I wasn't looking at the whole thing. I was just focusing on the words. And in my state of mind, at that exact moment, in that instant of time, I knew that that was a specific message for me, from me. Obviously, to anybody else, it was just a billboard advertising some stuff. But in that moment, for me, Spirit was using it to communicate. So This was an amazing part of my journey because it was basically the beginning of me being consciously aware of and actually experiencing communication with my capital S self. Obviously, my greatest self has always been here, has always been with me the whole time, but it was then that I was consciously aware of it, and so that was huge and a very big deal. Awakening tends to happen in stages. Consciousness, it expands incrementally. At least that's how it's been in my experience. But I'm not going to go through every single stage, that I went through or talk about every single mystical experience that I've had. Maybe I'll talk about it in another video, but I do want to mention that in the years to come, I would go through more tiny little, I guess you could say, expansion points or expansion stages, and they all seem to happen around Independence Day, which I thought was just such a cool thing that my highest self would do, just always putting in these cool hints and clues for symbolism to remind me, why things are happening. A cute little wink to, just remind me you're not alone and this is what this is all about, And then it was just a matter of me acclimating to this new state of being, because when you wake up, that's one thing. And then when you become enlightened, you really do become a new being. You are no longer the person that you were before, because you're not a person and you know that. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this 3-part series of my spiritual journey to success. Stay tuned.